Hey, what's up everybody? It's your boy Crazy Al CAYNE, CAYNE.com, CACTV. We are now in the month of March, so that means it's time for me to talk about the top 3 bikes that were featured on Bike of the Day in February 2025. That's right. So last month we had some nice bikes that were submitted. You can see them right here in this slideshow right here. But what bikes came in the top 3 positions? We're going to find that out today. The bikes that are on this list are strictly bikes that were featured on CAYNE.com Bike of the Day series, and they are submitted by users and members of the site who want to get their bike showcased. So once the bikes are submitted, I check them out, and if I like them, then I feature them on the site. And then from there, users from the site can come back and give these bikes a review based on their color, parts, originality, and overall style. So we're going to start with 3rd place, and that bike is a 1996 Dyno Comp. This bike right here is pretty fresh. It's got some nice 80s style colorway going on. You got the baby blue, you got the lavender, you also got yellow highlights all over the bike with the different parts, and you also have some chrome plated action going on there in the bars and the stem and the forks. Pegs are even chrome plated, and of course the rear end of the bike is chrome plated. So you have a wild variety of colors on this bike right here. Nice custom colorway, and it really sticks out from the rest of the pack, for real, for real. This bike was submitted by Retro Ben, and you can see he's living up to his name with the retro 80s colors popping all over this bike. So Ben said that this is a Saved by the Bell themed bike, and he wanted to build something that most of his generation could relate to. Gave me a shout out, and big shout out back to you, Retro Ben, for making this build right here. This is pretty fresh. All right, so moving on to the parts list, let's talk about it, son. First up, we got the VDC Hustler handlebars. I remember these joints back in the day. These were some tall bars, and they was the chin checkers, boy. If you ever come down off a big jump and your head goes all the way down, you're definitely getting chin checked by this thing right here, man. This is no joke. This was some tall bars. You also have the AME grips. You got the Tech 77 brake levers on this bad boy. The Nitto laid back C-post on there, because you know you definitely need a C-post. Like if you're an older cat and you get on something like a Dyno, it probably only has like a 19.5 top tube, a really short top tube. So back in them days we had to use laid back C-post to get that extra leg room and ride area, so we can get busy on the bike. So that's why we got the laid back seats back in the day. My man Ben got the laid back seat post now because he needs that leg room when he's riding around, cruising and stuff like that. Dyno Comp seat post clamp. He's got the Big Cheese 44 chain ring, the Big Cheese Spider, SR 170 chromo cranks, VP double cage pedals, which are really fire. I like these double cage pedals now, see, because the cool thing about these pedals is that you have an outer cage and an inner cage, and what Ben did here is he did the outer cage in the blue, the inner cage in the yellow, and he also hooked up the actual spindle for the pedals, and put pink on the cap here, and also put pink on the actual basically the bolt part of the pedal. So this is really cool. Some good attention to detail right here. Big shout out to Ben for that. He's got the Odyssey K9 brake calipers in yellow. These are really fresh brake calipers right here. He also has the Vans brake shoes right here, the sneaker shaped brake shoes, which is really dope. Classic material right there. I love chrome plated rims. Always have, always will love chrome plated rims. He's got those classic CMC rims on there, looking real polished. And those 1986 rims are also laced to King Kong hubs. The King Kong hubs. I never heard of King Kong hubs. I don't know about that. That's something new for me. So when you look a little closer to the details, he got some custom decals on the bike. He also got the Saved by the Bell decal on the top tube and also on the head tube, just to add the spice to that, some attention to detail. I got the bike looking all retroed out. Big shout out to Retro Ben for submitting this bike and keeping Bike of the Day spicy. Coming in 2nd place is a 2023 GT Speed Series. That's right. And this one has a special sticker kit on this bike right here, inspired by mid-school BMX GT Speed Series. All right, so this one I really like. All polished out. This is an aluminum frame, but it's polished out all the way, looking like it's chrome plated and the whole 9 yards. And I'm loving that. I'm loving that look right there. So he also has the classic GT Speed Series stickers on there from the 90s. I think that GT should have really did something like that, like made a limited edition of GT Speed Series frames and just came with the old decals, because the old decals look real fresh. I think that would have sold a lot of frames for real. And yeah, it just all comes together real nice, man. Unfortunately, you know, GT stopped producing BMX products this year, so we don't know if they're gonna come back or what. But man, if they do come back, this idea right here I think is really dope. Big shout out to Justice Stanley for putting this one together, stickering it up, getting that polish, putting those parts on there too, because all the black parts on there just make the whole bike just look fast and mean and classic. I really wish Justice sent more pictures of this bike so we can see more details of the parts that he has on his bike. You can see he got like 1,000+ views, got 9 comments on the bike. So Justice inspiration, he says he's introducing Project 96. So this is inspired by the 96 era GT Speed Series, a modern BMX with mid-school cool. All right, the 2023 GT Speed Series gets a retro refinish with a nod to BMX history, inspired by GT's legendary 1996 World Championship winning livery, ridden to victory by the iconic Dale Holmes. Big shout out to Dale Holmes doing this thing. This bike blends modern performance with classic style. With its hand-polished aluminum frame and ultra-rad decals, Project 96 is more than just a race bike. It's a tribute to an era when BMX was a cultural movement. It's about speed, style, and the pure joy of riding with friends. He goes on to give big thanks to Dale Holmes, Steve Spencer, and Clive Goslin. Actually, his name is Bruce Birnbanger, aka Justice Stanley. All right, so big shout out to Justice Bruce. Once again, this is a 2023 GT Speed Series XXL. He's got the Icon alloy wheels on this bike representing. I love the way these wheels look with the bold decal on the rim. It says Ultra Light. These are the Icon Ultra Lights, I guess. The wheels are laced with Onyx hubs. Hope Tech 3 X2 brakes. He's got a running chain ring, but there's no picture of the bike from the chain ring side, which is not good. We always need both sides of the bike so we can really get the full flavor of what you got on your bike. So man, this bike is real fire, but it would really be nice if I got a picture of the chain ring side. He's also running box 3 cranks, 180mm, a KMC S9 XL chain, which is kind of hard to see because once again, photos of the bike need the other side, so I can zoom in and catch all that. He's got a box 1 stem on here, which is that 31.8 oversized size. You can see the handlebars, how they taper to that bigger size right there. So you get more stiffness, you get more response from your bike, less flex on your handlebars when you pull out the gate. And speaking of bars, he's got the tangent flat iron bars on his bike to go with the stem. And he also has the Connerfield ODI grips. These are the V2.1s. And that's pretty much it for the parts list that he gave us. So there are a couple things that he left out, like the forks. Did he leave the forks out? He left the forks out of the list. These are avian forks. He has avian forks. You can tell by the logo right there. That's the avian logo right there. He also put the classic GT 1996 style decal on the fork, so that's pretty dope. But these are carbon avian forks that he has on his bike. And also, let's go to the tires. He's got Tioga Faster tires on the front and rear, and that about covers most of his bike. Amazing job on this build right here. This bike looks fantastic, and I'm curious to see where it winds up at the end of the year for the Bike of the Year competition. It's in second place now for Bike of the Month, but man, if you guys are watching this out there online, definitely come back, give this one a rate, and I want to see what people think about it and where this bike will wind up at the end of the year. So we're going to go to bike number 1, the number 1 bike, ranked number 1 on sugarcane.com for February 2025. That bike is a 2022 Throwdown 20-inch BMX racing bike sent in by Troy Thomas. Man, this bike looks fire right here. I really like the black and gold. You can't really go wrong with black and gold color scheme, but this one has black, gold, and white in the color scheme there. A lot of decals are in white and black, and man, this bike looks really, really fresh. The only thing about this bike that throws me off, of course, is the angle of the seat. I definitely would love to see a picture of this bike with the seat post down a little bit lower and that seat angle a little bit back a little bit, you know, tilted up a little bit. Of course, you know, my man Troy likes to ride around and cruise around on it, so he don't necessarily need to have it set up for racing all the time. All of us BMX snobs and also people who just love the look of a fast looking bike definitely like to have that seat in that aggressive position so you can see that. But no, this bike is really well put together, some really nice parts on there, and I really like the photos that Troy took of this bike. You know, he got pictures of the parts, he's got good pictures of the frame, you know, took a lot of pictures that we can really see the parts and the flyness, you know, and that's what I recommend everybody do, is to send a lot of pictures of the parts, and also of course both sides of the bike. No piece is cut off on the bike when you do those type of pictures. I love the fact that he spent a lot of attention to detail. He's got a black chain tensioner, and he also has the gold axle bolt, you know, for that contrast. Also in the chain, he also has a black and gold chain to go with the theme of the frame. And then of course he's got the gold spokes on the bike. So everything is just like, you know, gold, black, black, gold, black, gold. I just love the way everything's spread out in this bike. It's real nice. So Troy said he built this bike because he wanted to get back into BMX and racing after a few decades of barely riding. He originally built a 1986 GT Pro as a race bike, but a few buddies of his who are still active told him no. So knowing nothing about modern day BMX bikes or companies, he started this build. He says that he's old school and the only bikes he knew about were GT Hutch, Diamondback, and Kuwahara. He goes on to say this bike turned out to be one of his favorite builds and he can't wait for the Midwest winter weather to give so he can get it out on the track. He completely put the bike together himself, and he also laced up his wheels by himself, you know, and that's a special talent right there, a special talent and special patience right there, because you know, I don't think I ever laced wheels before. I'll true them up a little bit, but to actually lace them from scratch, I don't know about all that. But big up to Troy for doing his thing on this build right here. This actually was his first time lacing up some rims, so extra special shout out to him for that. And finally, Troy says that the black and gold theme comes from his high school colors, University City Indians, which he represents in his stem cap. The stem cap has the logo of the Indians on there. So let's go to the parts list. Actually, let's talk about the parts, because he done listed all the parts on his bike. You know, a lot of people kind of slack on the parts list, as you can see, but Troy did a really good job on the parts list. We're gonna run through that right now. So we have a 2022 Throwdown frame, we have a Throwdown disc brake adapter, box X5 carbon forks looking real fresh, box 1 headset with those fresh gold spacers, box M30 peak cranks, box 44 tooth chainring, box rims, box valve stem, box disc brake caliper, box 1 brake cable, box 20mm front axle through bolt, box gold number plate, box tires, box ODI gold grips, BB Infinity 30mm bottom bracket, Redline Flight V handlebars, Pro Max brake lever, stainless steel gold plated spokes, black alloy nipples, Onyx 15mm Ultra SS rear hub, and he's got the 20mm Onyx Ultra front hub, 16 tooth Onyx cog, Izumi black and gold chain, FSA carbon seat post, Tioga Spider twin tail 2 seat, Ms. Wife's pedals, I can't pronounce that, Tubolito inner tubes, titanium brake rotor bolts in gold, titanium chainring bolts in gold, LDC 53mm stem. Anybody out there watching, if y'all still watching, what does LDC stand for? Radio 15mm chain tensioners and black brake cable dice. Man, this bike is laced with a lot of dope parts. It's pretty boxed out. Lots of boxed parts on this bike right here. If you come back to sugarcane.com and check out the article on this bike, you'll see he got 739 views. He also has 12 comments on the bike. So let's go down and see all that. What's that about? He's got a total color score of a 9.34. Total originality 9.32, parts 9.34, overall style 9.4, giving him a total rating score of a 9.35. What? 27 people came and gave this bike a rating, and the last 2 people who rated it was Daniel Melvin, gave it a 9.56 overall rating, and Das gave it 10s across the board. That's what's up. Let me give them a little like for that. Let me give them a like for that. So you can come back to sugarcane.com and you can also like the reviews that people leave of the bike. You go down a little bit further and you have the reaction, so you can come down here and give your reaction. So you could say it's dope, love it, oh snap. Somebody gave it a what? Why would you give it a what? Anyways, he got 21 dopes, he got 10 loved it, and he has 3 oh snaps. This right here is pretty important because I have a whole nother page called the most. What that page is a chart that shows you the top bikes that got the most likes, which is here. These are all the likes. We also have the most views and the most comments. So I'm gonna go to that page in a second, but first let's go check out the comment section here and see what people had to say. So Roy Washington Jr., my dude, he said, you can never go wrong with the box component, and I love the overall gold accents throughout the build. I would have stuck with the box components oversized theme and found the box 1 Jared Garcia signature bar with the V crossbar to include an oversized stem without spaces to maximize power transfer. The saddle and post are dope because it doubles as a warm-up configuration. So that's what Roy had to say, and he is a member of CAYNE.com, and so is Troy Thomas, who is right here. Definitely check him out. Let him know how you feel about his build, and leave your comments here. Let's keep the discussion going about this bike and the other bikes as well. So when you go on their page, you know, drop a comment so you have a nice little discussion going on here. So big congrats to Troy Thomas on that #1 bike. That #1 bike right there, the Throwdown 2022. Now, if you guys want to submit a bike to Bike of the Day, you can always come back to the website and you will go to the actual page for that, and that is the submit page, which is right up here. You'll see it up top on the black bar. You'll see it says submit. You click on that, it'll take you to the submission page where you can submit your bike. I'm gonna show you that too while we're here. If you're still here and you're interested in submitting your bike to Bike of the Day, you have this here, and it gives you the whole rundown on what you need to do to submit your bike. And then we have the form that you fill out at the bottom of the page, which is gonna load soon, I hope. And you can put all your information, all your photos, everything in this form right here, and you can submit your bike to Bike of the Day. So definitely do that because we're looking for bikes to post for March 2025. So if you come over here to the Bike of the Day tab, you have the Bike of the Month, which shows all the Bike of the Month articles. And then you go here, this shows the Bike of the Year chart, which I should go to right now. I'm gonna go to Bike of the Year chart so you can see the bikes that are currently ranked on Bike of the Year. So this is the 2025 Bike of the Year chart, and this is the rundown right now. So the Throwdown is in first place. Okay, February's #1 bike is in first place. So Troy Thomas is winning this race right now with a 9.35, and just behind it is Troy's other bike. He has a Hutch Trickstar, and he has a 9.33 on that Hutch Trickstar. So both of these bikes are Troy's bikes in the #1 and #2 spot. We also have the Daylight Arc C3 2023. This was the Eddie Van Halen guitar inspiration. You have the Stay Strong in 4th. You have the GT that was featured in 5th. We have the Send It 224 Cruiser in 6th place. In 7th place, we have my personal 24-inch, which is the Sugarcane Newbridge 24-inch. 8th place is the Dyno that was featured this month. We also have in 9th place the 2013 Supercross NV Expert XL in 9th. And rounding it up is another Supercross RSX Pro 24. And there's a whole bunch more bikes on this list, so definitely come back to CAYNE.com. Check that out. And now let's go to the most. Now the most page, this is something new that I'm doing for 2025. So right now it's just showing you the latest bikes that were posted for Bike of the Day. January and February are listed right here. So these are their categories. If you click on these, it'll take you to the January Bike of the Day bikes. Click on this one, takes you to the February Bike of the Day bikes. And here is a drop down that will sort this page out and show you the top bikes within each category. So we have the latest. So this is the latest bike. Now you also have the oldest, but we also have the most discussed. So the most discussed is the article with the most comments. 2024 Stay Strong V5 had the most comments. This bike has 19 comments. That's the bike that has the most comments of the year so far. And this is the way you keep track of that competition going on this year. So that is it, y'all. I hope y'all enjoyed this. Let me know what you think about this episode. Let me know what you think about all the bikes that were featured, and also about these new segments I'm doing, these new competitions that I'm doing for the Bike of the Year competition. All right, this is Crazy Al Kane, CAYNE.com, CACTV Bike of the Month, February 2025, and I'm out. Back to you, Billy.